Well, finally, the moment I've been waiting for all of 15 months now, I'm finally behind the wheel of what they're known as internally as X900 at the moment, of course, Jaguar GT. And the last time I was in this car, I was sat in the passenger seat and Rob was driving me, and now I'm getting to experience just how this car gets around the Gaydon test track here. And instantly, it is phenomenal, I have to say. The power delivery from this car is absolutely insane. A gentle squeeze of the throttle, and where you want to be is where you are, quicker than you ever imagined it could be. And how it does all that is so smooth and quiet and reassuringly stable. You don't feel like you have to hang on for dear life and that you're on the edge of something scary here. And indeed, track conditions here at Gaydon are quite slippy, and it's just looking after me, really, as I head around the circuit here and experience what the future of Jaguar looks like, finally, from behind the steering wheel. Because let's be honest, whatever you think of the way this car looks, it's this bit that really matters. When you finally get to drive it, experience that surge of power from that 1,000 horsepower, 3 electric motors, of course, propelling me down this section of the Gaydon test track, which is designed to emulate a motorway or autobahn at these kind of speeds. This is 130 miles an hour now, and I'm talking to you as if we're doing gentle speeds on a country road. And what's been interesting about today for me is that we've been driving this car following a drive in all of the heritage fleet here at Jaguar. And the car I've just got out of and got into this from was the XJ Coupe, the V12 1978 model, that wonderful pillarless coupe look. And that was the car that the development engineers here at Jaguar used to really inspire them to create this wonderfully planted, low, sleek Jaguar GT, cornering one of the tightest corners here on the circuit at 75 miles an hour, and it's really no effort at all, as we just have one more experience of that fantastic surge. Let me try and talk you through it. I'm now doing, unbelievably, just under 100 miles per hour. I'm coming up to one of the heritage fleet's lovely E-types. I'm just going to move around that now, and I'm just going to give it a squeeze on the throttle. And already here at Gaydon, I'm up to 140, 150 miles an hour. And how composed and quiet that is. Phenomenal. Now you might be saying, I'm not going to be doing 150 miles an hour in my Jaguar. What does all that mean to me? And it all comes down to the essence of what a Jaguar is. What does it mean to drive a Jaguar? And the guys here have worked out from the heritage fleet that what it really means to drive a Jaguar is what they call power in reserve. The fact that at any time you can really use the performance, but in reality, the feeling that it's there, the feeling that you can do it even though you're far too comfortable and relaxed to bother, is what driving a Jaguar is really about. Then Rob sat next to me here. Rob, it must have been phenomenal fun for you to develop this car. How has it developed over the course of the prototype period, and what inspirations have you taken from that XJ Coupe that I was out in earlier?
So the car that you're driving is one of our golden vehicles that we have a fleet of over 100 cars that we pulled together and integrate into this one car. So what you're driving today is the output from that. And what we've tried to do is kind of what you touched on with the XJ Coupe. The car is incredibly comfortable and composed. But as you start to use the car and explore it, it's got a dynamic edge to it, which makes it a real joy to drive and flow through country lanes. And that character is exactly what we try to embody in the car. So all of the control weights, the body movement and the composure that you're feeling is designed, and we've tuned it very precisely to emulate that character of that car. So hopefully that's what you're seeing as a true back-to-back today.
Something that I instantly feel as I use it around these corners is just how quickly it turns in and then how easily it holds the line round a corner. And that's all to do with this all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering, of course, that it's got, hasn't it?
That's right. So we've got 3 motors in the car, so 2 in the rear, 1 in the front. So it lets us truly torque vector across the rear axle. But they've also got rear wheel steering in the car. So we use all of those tools both to improve the agility of the car at lower speeds, but then also as you were exercising the car up to 150 or so, we use those again to bring some stability into the car to give you that real confident feel as you're driving the car quicker.
I mean, you have to say, normally when you're doing 150 miles an hour on a wet track, you're in a no-mech suit with a helmet on and you're probably wondering if you've got your will written and whether you're going to get home tonight. But we're so relaxed in this, aren't we? Just using the performance and being very sure-footed about it.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. And that's what the XJ Coupe gives you, that feeling. And that's exactly what we wanted to emulate in the car. If the car becomes intimidating, you stop enjoying it. So we wanted to make sure the performance was accessible and you could enjoy it, and it's got a real nice flowing character to it.
Wonderful. Well, we've stepped off of the motorway section here at Gaydon, and what we now do is try some of like the real life roads, the kind of rough potholey stuff that we all have to drive on every day. And I remember from my passenger ride, this is really where this car excels, because yeah, it's all right flying around motorways at breakneck speeds, but what is it like to really live with? What is it like on that pothole B road on the way to work? Does it give you the same experience? Do you have the same confidence to get round quite narrow B roads, tight corners, rough potted roads when you're driving a car that's over 5 meters long? And I have to say, the first thing I did notice when I got in this car was, yes, it's massive, and it felt very big when I was driving very slowly as I was getting used to it. But actually, Rob assured me that as I went along, it would start to feel smaller, and it absolutely has done. This is, what, 2.7, 2.8 tons, is it, Rob? And it feels incredibly lightweight, doesn't it?
It does, and again, another characteristic of what we were trying to get from the car is that agile, light feeling in the car and feeling smaller to drive. So as you've touched on, as we go onto the tighter track here, you should feel the car is incredibly easy to place and makes you feel confident at all times. And again, that's a true characteristic of a true GT, which is what we wanted to get into the vehicle.
I mean, you want to be able to use that sort of power without fearing for your life every time you take it out. And that's the challenge, isn't it, really? How do you harness 1,000 horsepower and make it sort of tame for a relaxed drive in the countryside to a pub sort of thing, isn't it? Because ultimately that's how this car is going to be driven.
Exactly that. And because we have the power available, the temptation is there to use it all the time. But we've really taken a pragmatic approach to it in the car. And it's the experience first and then the toolkit after, if you like. So the way we deploy the power is really trying to accentuate that GT character. So you should feel it's quite smooth, but it's also very easy to access the performance in the car, which is really important.
Really is. And I don't feel at all nervous about using that power because it delivers it so smoothly. Of course, you've got this sort of lulls you into a false sense of security element to it, where it is so quiet and silent, and you don't quite realise that in fact you're doing 70 mile an hour down a rough potted single track road. The brakes are phenomenal, considering the weight of this car just pulls us up there really nicely. And here was a little corner that I tested with the Heritage fleet, and nearly all of them understeered wildly along this little bit of roundabout here, but this remains planted. And I think one of the reasons I'm feeling straight away why this car feels small despite its size is because actually this cabin is quite cosseting. Takes you back to sort of XJS with that long bonnet, relatively big car, but a very small cabin, and that's been replicated here. And just heading across some bumpy sort of mountain roads, I guess these are, Rob, are they?
Yeah, so this is a low-speed endurance track, so not only is it useful to get a feel for what the car's like in a tighter environment, the imperfections on the road surface are designed such that it replicates what the car may see throughout the globe effectively. So a lot of the surfaces you're driving over are very challenging for the car, but it also highlights how composed and supple the car can feel as well, which is also incredibly important.
We were shown a bunch of graphs in the briefing about how this car compares to the old XJ coupe, you know, and how it rolls and the frequencies that it has running through the body, and how they wanted to replicate that. And having just come out of the XJ coupe, I can absolutely tell you that this is a proper Jaguar. It's got power if you want it, comfort when you can't really be bothered and you want to relax. And look at this, 70 miles an hour. We're just about to hit a really rough, potted road here, and absolutely no drama whatsoever. And I feel everything coming through the car. There's a little bit of a jump in the road there, absolutely composed. There's none of that movement on the road. And I can tell you, I absolutely couldn't have done that with any of the heritage cars that I drove earlier on. Again, this sort of wet roundabout here that we have, absolutely confident round here. And it just shows, Rob, what you and the guys have been working on, doesn't it? You must be really proud of this.
Incredibly proud, but, you know, really nice to hear your impressions of the car as, you know, first time behind the wheel. It's what all the team and, you know, it's a big team push to achieve. We really want the car to feel cohesive, but have an identity, and it's all of the words that you picked out from the experience is what we sweat tirelessly to deliver. So, yeah, immensely proud.
So many modern cars, my F-Pace included, handle wonderfully. You can't take that away from them, but they sort of are hard, they're jarring. Of course, most of them tuned on the Nürburgring, but this, you can feel it moving. It does sort of wallow a little. It does allow you to be comfortable and flexible and just enjoy and understand the road that you're actually on. And that's so rare with a modern car, especially with an electric car. And that little burst of acceleration when you tickle the pedal is so addictive, it's unbelievable. I just can't stop doing it as we head through what is the mountain road section here at Gaydon, designed to emulate the sort of alpine passes with this sort of gravelly tarmac here. And it's perfectly composed. It is really a joy to see how technology is going to push Jaguar on into this new era. And actually really instructive to have driven all of the heritage fleet before I got behind the wheel of this car, because it just makes you remember what a Jaguar should be. It reminds you starkly that it's all about this view that I've got here, really long bonnet stretching out in front of me. It doesn't disappear like so many modern cars do in front of me, and I can't see it anymore. I can see and I can feel all the car around me. I feel connected to it because this cabin is really cozy. It's giving me a little cuddle as I'm flying down the road. And I instantly feel like I've owned this car for years. It's quite bizarre, actually. I feel so at home in it. I feel like it could have been mine for a long time, and I'm just out for a run. And that's quite rare in a test drive where you've had relatively little amount of mileage with a car. It takes you often a while to get your head around it. But everything, because I'm a Jaguar person and I'm used to driving Jaguars, everything kind of falls to hand and feels very normal, very natural. And at 6'4", the other normal thing is to feel like the cabin is quite close, but I like that. I don't feel like I need to be in a cavernous interior. And if you like the old interiors of Jaguars where you had a big car around you, but a comfy, cozy space in which to enjoy the performance and the general experience of driving Britain's best, then this is a Jaguar through and through. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here at Gaydon, taking the car out for my first ever drive of the brand new Jaguar GT. And thank you, Rob, for showing us what she can do.